But the trapping comes from, for us, comes from two systems. It comes from JKD, from Wing Chun, and it comes from and it comes from the Filipino arts as well. The both systems have the trapping in them. Differences tend to be angles. I find Wing Chun tends to be a little more linear, and the Kali trapping tends to be a little more angular. But they have the same, very similar structures to it. But Brian, I wish Brian was here today, because Brian has a pretty good Wing Chun background in his trapping. It's pretty good. I was thinking about this as planning to do this, Brian. I was thinking about when you first came to Trinity, and you were very much in your like Wing Chun stance, and your kicks and everything were like this tense stuff, right? Because that's where it comes from. But trapping is a particular range. So we have free range, right? And we have long range where we can just start to make connection at the longest range, which would be kicking range. And then you go from striking range into grappling range, but in between those two ranges is trapping range. So trapping range doesn't occur at long range. You have to be closer. So when he's punching me, right, I actually have to close the distance between each trapping range. It's not done at long range. And it's not done at the range where we would start to grapple. Trapping isn't really done here. This is where we start to pummel, we start to do everything, right? Okay, so what we're going to work is a little bit of drill about entering. So this is bridging the gap, and this is Bruce Lee. But I'm going to use a bilji, which is a finger drill, right? I'm going to be way outside range. I know the bilji is not going to hit, but I'm occupying his mind. So the bilji, I'm going to go low kick and then come forward into bilji again. So I'm going from outside range into striking range and moving into trapping range. From outside range, I'm moving into striking range here, and he's going to give me that engagement. Then it's her turn. He's going to bilji, hit her turn. Okay. So I'm receiving it. I'm just giving the lead arm as an obstruction. Could be an obstruction off the rear arm, could be evasion. But right now, I'm going to give the lead arm as an obstruction. So he backs off or outside range. So I lean forward with the bilji, and that's so I can pendulum step into kick and then come forward again with this bilji. Right? Can we just do that back and forth for a little bit? Right, you can still, this is still functional that wise, because this can be a jab into a low kick into a jab, right? So it's still functional kickboxing wise. It's just coming from Jun Fan. I'll work in as well for this. You go back and forth. Okay, we got the idea to move in. Okay, so let's isolate for a moment the bridge. For the moment we get the obstruction. So we come to the part where we have the obstruction. So there's different ways to deal with the obstruction. The first way I'm going to deal with the obstruction is I'm going to drive his elbow towards him. I'm shuffling forward. Everything when you're doing trapping is with forward as well. You don't lean into traps, right? You always whole body moves forward. So my rear hand, this is the wusa position, waiting hand position. If you look at kickboxing, it's this, right? It's just, so I'm in here. I'm going to shuffle forward. I'm going to trap and he's going to block. So you can trap and back fist. You can trap and straight punch. You can trap and bilji. And you can bear claw. It doesn't matter. The idea is that I'm trapping and striking in, he's ready. So he comes. The things to watch out for is you don't retract. As soon as I retract, he's in. Yeah. So it's always from here, it just explodes forward. There we go. So if you want to be safe, you can give the back fist. That gives your partner a little more time. Or a hammer fist. I prefer myself, as far as self-defense goes, I prefer to hammer fist because this part of my hand, it's okay if he leans into it and I take it here. But if he leans into it and I take it here, and I haven't done the conditioning necessary to make these knuckles hard, right? So I prefer that. So you try that, just isolate from the bridge. You can go to hammer fist, or you can punch if your partner is. All right, we got the idea. So now we put it into the whole thing. All right, so we're going to start outside distance. Okay, I'm going to move in with the bilji. I'm going to kick, and when I come, he gives me the obstruction. I'm going to trap and strike. So it's all about closing distance. When I'm going to trap, I'm all about making my distance between us smaller. I start long distance. Come here, I shuffle in. And I can twist turn. Break distance. He goes bilji. Now check bilji. Trap and come in. Right? You give it a try. Do 3 on one side. Switch. Do 3 on the other side. Put your repetitions there. All right, we got the idea. All right. So go back to the bridge. So the moment we make contact, it's about getting a sensitivity, of feeling what your partner's structure is like. Some people, the moment you make contact, are going to collapse. And some people are going to be a little stronger. So if I go to trap and I feel him stiffen up, right? I immediately lock. So I change my energy from trying to crash to pull and hit. Much harder to deal with, but the moment I feel that resistance, I can't get through. I change it. Okay, so it goes resistance, pull and hit. Okay, this is lopsided down. If you want the terminology. If you want to know, it's Bilji, Naotech, Bilji, Paxoda, or Paxoda, lopsided. You give it a try. Right? And it's about the energy. And then there's other things, right? If I come up and his energy feels too strong on the crash, maybe I go around. Yeah, you keep changing your energy to go through. All right, let's give this one a try.